This was the day he stepped out of the shadows, the day a quiet kid from Walthamstow finally announced himself to the world. April 7th, 2014, Tottenham Hotspur vs Sunderland, a night destined to be ordinary until a young striker with the number 37 on his back rewrote his story. One chance, one strike, one roar that shook North London. Harry Kane, the loanee nobody believed in, the academy kid judged not fast enough, not athletic enough, not special enough, finally lit the fuse. As the ball hit the net, the stadium didn't just celebrate a goal, it witnessed a prophecy, a star being born in real time, a destiny awakening. But behind that moment, behind that celebration, behind that smile that finally looked free, was a lifetime of doubt, a lifetime of rejection, a lifetime of battles no one saw. And as Kane sprinted to the corner flag, fists clenched, chest thundering, one truth echoed louder than the crowd around him: the world will know my name. But destiny, as always, had its own plans. And it wasn't done testing him yet. He was born on July 28, 1993 in Walthamstow, a place where dreams were louder than opportunities, and football wasn't just a game, but an escape. A young Harry Kane grew up chasing a ball around Ridgeway Rovers, the same local club that once shaped legends. But unlike the prodigies who dazzled instantly, Kane wasn't the golden child. He wasn't the tallest. He wasn't the quickest. He wasn't the kid scouts fought over. He was simply relentless. A boy with an engine built from stubborn hope. At 8, Arsenal looked at him and said, "No. Too slow. Not special." That rejection burned deep, carving scars he would carry into every match for the rest of his life. But instead of breaking, he sharpened himself. Instead of folding, he grew hungrier. Every training session, every cold morning, every moment he felt overlooked, he played not just to win, but to prove them wrong. And in those quiet backyards of East London, a fire started. A fire no one saw coming. A fire that would one day light up the world. Kane's teenage years weren't filled with applause. They were filled with trials. Tottenham believed in him enough to sign him, but not enough to trust him yet. So he was sent out again and again to loan spells where dreams usually go to die. Leyton Orient, Millwall, Norwich City, Leicester City. These weren't glamorous stages. These were battlegrounds for survival. Cold nights, tough crowds, managers who cared more about results than potential. And still Kane pushed. Still he fought. Still he found a way to score goals born from pure stubbornness. At Millwall, they named him Young Player of the Year. The first whisper that maybe, just maybe, this kid was something more. But even then, the experts said, lone striker. Average ceiling. Squad player at best. The world didn't see a star. But Harry saw one, in the mirror. While others saw limits, Kane carried a silent promise. Give me time and I'll give you everything. He spent nights studying legends. Shearer's movement, Ruud van Nistelrooy's finishing, Drogba's power. He wasn't born with natural gifts. He built them, one touch at a time, one mistake at a time, one lonely evening on empty training pitches when no one else stayed behind. By 20, he had lived more rejection than most professionals face in entire careers. Yet every setback became fuel, every doubt became oxygen for the fire inside him. He wasn't the chosen one. He wasn't the prodigy. He was the worker, the grinder, the boy building himself piece by piece while the world looked away. And when the world finally looked back, it wouldn't forget him again. When Harry Kane returned to Tottenham, he wasn't the kid they sent away anymore. He was a weapon waiting to be unleashed. But even then, he began as a substitute, a quiet shadow behind big names. Until that night against Sunderland, the night he scored and refused to go back to silence. From that moment, Kane didn't just rise, he erupted. 2014 to 15 season, 31 goals in all competitions. Premier League Young Player of the Year. Tottenham's Player of the Season, a league stunned by the sudden emergence of a striker built from grit, not hype. Fans kept asking, where did he come from? They didn't know that his whole life had been preparing him for this. And just when they thought it was a fluke, he kept scoring, week after week, goal after goal. And destiny whispered louder, this is only the beginning. Harry Kane didn't just become good, he became inevitable. In 2015 to 16, he won the Premier League Golden Boot with 25 goals. In 2016 to 17, he did it again, 29 goals. In 2017 to 18, he scored 41 goals in all competitions, breaking records once held by club legends. He wasn't just consistent, he was ruthless. Movement like a ghost, finishing like a surgeon, a striker with the instincts of a predator who smelled fear in every penalty box. And across Europe, clubs started circling. Real Madrid, Manchester United, big money, big promises, big futures. But Kane stayed. Stayed because he wanted to lift Tottenham, not abandon them. Stayed because loyalty meant more than glamour. Stayed because he believed the crown would one day come home, but destiny had other plans, and the world wasn't finished testing him. By the time the 2018 World Cup arrived, Harry Kane wasn't just Tottenham's star. He was England's hope, their heartbeat, their leader. He carried a nation starving for glory, a nation weighted by decades of heartache. 6 goals, Golden Boot winner, first Englishman to top a World Cup scoring chart since Gary Lineker in 1986. He dragged England to a World Cup semi-final, their first in 28 years. And suddenly, the world no longer asked, who is Harry Kane? They asked, how far can he go? Tottenham rewarded that faith with responsibility, building the team around him. Courtside celebrities wanted photos. Commentators ran out of adjectives, and Europe feared that any ball entering the box belonged to him. He was at the peak. He had everything, except the one thing he craved most, a trophy. He had the world at his feet, and then, slowly, painfully, it all began to crumble. Tottenham reached the 2019 Champions League final, the biggest night in the club's history, and Kane rushed back from an ankle injury he had no business playing through. His heart said yes, his body whispered no, and on that night in Madrid, the dream collapsed. Liverpool lifted the trophy. Kane watched under the stadium lights, his face frozen between heartbreak and disbelief. He stayed loyal. He stayed patient. But football is cruel to loyal men. Tottenham fell apart. Managers sacked. Teammates leaving, the project collapsing in slow motion. Year after year, Kane carried the team on goals alone, golden boots, playmaker awards, record-breaking seasons with nothing to show for it. He was the king, but his kingdom had no crown. Greatness demands a price, and Kane paid it in pain. Ankles twisting, ligaments tearing, hamstrings snapping. From 2016 to 2020, he suffered injury after injury, each one threatening to erase everything he had fought for. Some nights he limped off the pitch with tears hidden behind sweat. Other nights he trained alone in empty rooms, whispering to himself, "I'm not done." Every time he returned, he came back stronger, but a little more fragile, a little more desperate, a little more aware that time was running out. He broke records while breaking himself, and still, trophies slipped away like sand through open hands. He gave Tottenham everything, but the game gave him nothing back. And the world wondered, how long could one man carry the weight of an entire club? The summer when the cracks finally broke open, Kane wanted one thing, not money, not fame, just a chance to win. Manchester City came with a £125 million offer, a way out, a lifeline, a new destiny, but Tottenham refused. Negotiations collapsed. Rumors exploded worldwide. Kane refuses to train. Kane wants out. Kane has betrayed the club. The king was suddenly the villain, and the world turned on him, forgetting everything he had given. He walked back onto the pitch that season carrying more than pressure. He carried misunderstanding, disappointment, and a silent heartbreak that cut deeper than any injury. He stayed, but something inside him had changed. The fire was still there, but the hope was dying. August 2023. After years of loyalty, heartbreak, and unfulfilled destiny, Harry Kane finally made the decision he once feared: to leave home, to leave Tottenham Hotspur, to leave the club he had given his childhood, his prime, his soul. Bayern Munich came with a €100 million offer, a statement, a promise, a new chapter. It wasn't betrayal, it wasn't escape, it was survival. It was a man choosing to breathe again. And when he stepped onto the Allianz Arena turf for the first time, something shifted. The weight on his shoulders loosened. The expectations didn't disappear, they transformed. He was no longer the hero who had to carry everyone. He was now part of a machine built for victory. A striker reborn, a destiny rewritten. For the first time in years, he smiled, like a man who remembered who he was. Germany didn't intimidate him, it ignited him. Kane stormed into the Bundesliga like a man making up for lost time. Goals from everywhere, volleys, headers, tap-ins, long-range missiles. He shattered records at a pace Germany had never seen. Fastest player to 20 Bundesliga goals, most goals by an Englishman in a single season. And suddenly, those who doubted his decision disappeared. English fans watched with pride. Tottenham fans watched with bittersweet love. The world watched with awe, because this wasn't just scoring. This was liberation expressed through football. This was the boy who once got rejected at Arsenal, rejected by fate, rejected by trophies, finally rising above everything that tried to break him. His story wasn't finished.
It was finally alive, and while Munich loved him, England remained his heartbeat. Every time he wore the Three Lions shirt, he carried decades of national heartbreak on his back. Yet somehow, he thrived under that pressure. England's all-time top goalscorer, beating Wayne Rooney's record, beating legends who shaped generations. He didn't just score, he lifted England back into relevance. Euro runs, World Cup battles, nights of hope and tears. He became the symbol of a nation desperate for redemption, a leader molded from scars, and every time he stepped up to a penalty spot, after all the misses, all the criticism, all the trauma, he showed something the world understood only too late. Harry Kane wasn't defined by what he lost. He was defined by how he rose. People judge footballers by trophies, but legends, they're judged by impact, by memory, by hearts moved, not medals lifted. Harry Kane may not have won the Premier League. He may not have lifted a Champions League trophy, but he lifted something far heavier. Expectation, hope, a club, a nation. He became Tottenham's all-time leading scorer, 280 goals carved from loyalty and pain. He became England's top scorer, built from pressure and purpose. He became the striker children imitate on playgrounds, the player defenders fear in silence. A king not crowned by trophies, but crowned by greatness. One day when he hangs his boots, people will finally understand. Harry Kane didn't just play football, he sculpted it. He didn't just score goals, he told stories with them. Stories of rejection at Arsenal, stories of lone spells in the dark, stories of loyalty to Tottenham, stories of heartbreaks in finals, stories of redemption in Germany, stories of a man who refused to let destiny choose for him. If you think his story was powerful, wait until you hear the day football witnessed the fall and resurrection of Cristiano Ronaldo. Join us in the next chapter, because legends never truly end, they only turn the page. If you think his story was powerful, wait until you hear the day football witnessed the fall and resurrection of Cristiano Ronaldo. Join us in the next chapter, because legends never truly end, they only turn the page.